Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen from Gaper, and I'm here today speaking with Alex from TriD Dynamics. How are you doing today, Alex?
Doing good, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Great. So before we get started, why don't you just share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Sure. Yeah. Myself, I'm a aerospace engineer by training, with a focus in structures and materials. Went to UC San Diego, studied there structural engineering. Went on to Purdue University and studied aerospace engineering and 3D printed metals, specifically. Kind of did my research work on that. And then went and worked a little bit in the aerospace industry. So worked at the Aerospace Corporation in the LA area, working on qualifying rockets that were used for military rocket launches. So kind of did structural analysis, a lot of work on 3D printed parts. Also worked for the US Navy a bit, helping them with some of their additive manufacturing work down in San Diego. And kind of the general theme has been around 3D printing for a while, especially metal 3D printing. And in grad school, co-founded TriD Dynamics with my good friend Deepak, who also attended Purdue with me.
Very nice. Wow, that's impressive. So now we're going to start talking about remote employment. Can you tell me your experience with remote employment, both as an employee and as an employer?
Yeah, sure. So at TriD Dynamics, we utilize remote employment a good amount. We have needs that come up every so often, and as a early stage, fast charging startup, you can't really predict those needs. You aren't able to predict also how long you'll have them for. So going through kind of the sunk cost of bringing a full-time employee on and getting them in person and set up doesn't always seem like the best route. So we utilize remote employment to both work with kind of part-time employees, but also people who have been full-time. We've had experiences where we have people that will work a lot of the week remotely and then fly in for a couple days every so often. And it's been good. I think the main benefits for us is we don't have kind of that big sunk cost when you're bringing someone on full-time. And it can be a good segue into a full-time position if you're getting to know someone before really hiring them. Myself, I've had to work remotely with people in our company as well. I was in LA during a couple summers in grad school, and we had just started the company, and I was working with a few interns back at Purdue and managing them on a remote basis. And so, having to work with them, it is a different approach, but you can still be very effective at a very low cost as well.
Very good. So what do you think is the future of remote employment, and what do you think needs to be done differently to make it even better and more effective?
Yeah. Well, kind of see with the recent, coronavirus scare, there's a lot of remote employment going on, especially this week and last week, and I'm sure maybe in the next month or so.
I'm enjoying the break in traffic. I don't know if you are.
Oh, hugely. Trust me. Breaking a lot of things, traffic, the gym, all that stuff. So yeah, the future of it, I think we're going to move more and more to it as more technologies become available and become better at supporting remote employment. I think there is something to be said about working in person, and there's definitely value and benefit to that. That's something that in certain instances is hard to replicate, but for a lot of the work that we do nowadays, you're working kind of individually, and you're not really interacting on an as needed basis as much. And for those times, there are tools available to kind of replicate that in-person environment. There's a lot of tools available where you can communicate with someone instantly. You could plan meetings with them. You could have that face-to-face. So us at TriD Dynamics, we kind of utilize all of them to facilitate our remote work. Excited to see how it grows going forward.
Yeah, great. So can you tell me the story behind TriD Dynamics and what the journey's been like?
Yeah, TriD Dynamics. So it's definitely been a journey. It starts all the way back in my undergraduate days. The three co-founders of our company, myself, Deepak Atyam, CEO. I'm the president, by the way, and Jesse Lang, VP of Operations and Engineering. we all met undergrad at UC San Diego. Deepak had started a rocket club there, and I was one of the first members to join on with him in doing that. Jesse joined a little bit later, and we were kind of the leaders of the organization for a few years. What we did was we had a challenge from NASA to 3D print a rocket engine and test it. And so we became actually the first university to do that. It was a very big kind of moment for us because a lot of people had said, don't expect it to work. It probably is not going to work the first time. And we were so young and naive that we just did it anyways. And it worked, and we got a lot of momentum from that to be able to push us into bigger and better projects. Transitioning forward to TriD Dynamics, to get workspace for that organization, there wasn't a lot of availability at UC San Diego. So we had to kind of pretend that we were a startup to get into a local incubator there at the school. And they put us through some classes and business plan competitions and made us do some startup, thought exercises. And we actually, through that process, found, hell, maybe there's a business out of this with 3D printed products. So our initial goal was to actually 3D print rocket engines on a mass scale and kind of reduce the cost of doing that, which would hopefully enable more space flight and more, kind of a spacefaring civilization to take place. We went to Purdue University, myself and Deepak, to kind of pursue that and build our network out, get some more technical expertise. And at Purdue and directly after graduation, we realized that the market we were initially looking at wasn't as big and was a little bit further down the line than we initially thought. But we were working with some unique technology at that time, cold metal fusion that we started developing. We were initially using it to kind of spray structural coatings on our rocket engines, and we realized that it could do so much more. And we pivoted our company into what we are doing today, which is we're using that cold metal fusion technology to embed integrated electronics directly into metal parts and protect them from harsh environments that they operate in. So an example is something like a metal pipe that operates in a oil and gas well, where you have extreme conditions, corrosive environments, high pressures, high temperatures. Sensors and electronics would normally not be able to survive, but through our 3D printing process, we're able to integrate it directly into the structure of the metal, protect it, and allow those, the creation of what we call smart pipes, which we can sense data, communicate it, provide information to people as needed.
Wow, I mean, it seems like the applications of this are almost endless. I mean, I can think, like, when you say piping, irrigation and farming and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's when you think about putting something like a sensor or different electronics or circuits, at anywhere in a metal part that you want, not just on the surface, and it starts to open up a wide range of possibilities. We think the initial market is going to be kind of tools and infrastructure that operate in harsh environments. So, energy production, aerospace industry, even automotive, seems like kind of some initial areas. And, we envision a world where, you have a car chassis that has integrated sensors within, able to get pulled data directly of how, your driving is affecting the structural reliability of the car, of different parts, how they might break down, and really fostering a world of preventive maintenance where you're not able to just react to a broken part, but actually maybe change your driving habits or change different abilities of the vehicle to prevent against something breaking. And in the oil and gas environment, which we're kind of starting off in, we're able to get really unique data sets from the characteristics of an oil well that currently is very difficult or expensive to get. And being able to provide that at a relatively low cost to the users of that information is just allows them to be more efficient in their operations.
Great. So that's really cool stuff. So how did you incorporate the idea of remote at your company?
Yeah, I mean, it really came out of need, I would say. A small startup, not having a whole, a lot of resources at our disposal, but still needing to get a lot of work done and, be able to multiply, have a force multiplier on the effect of the initial 3 co-founders. We wanted to start working with more people, right? Well, the way to do that, sure, you could hire on some people and get them there in person, but that takes a lot of resources away from us. Working remote just by nature allows you to get some pretty effective work done at a relatively low cost. And that was the appeal for us initially. And there also, became a need where certain people we wanted to work with, they're located in other parts of the country, other parts of the state. And again, being resource strapped and not being able to give them the full support needed to bring them to the Bay Area to work with us in person, at least at the time, working remote was a great way to kind of form that relationship at the onset, and also get some really great work done in that time. And that's kind of how it initially came to be for our company.
Very cool, man. So companies like Gaper that we help develop, build, and scale products, especially for startups like yourself, how important do you think that these types of setups are for, founders like yourself that are you need to hire people, quality people, and fast?
Yeah, I mean, we're going through that constantly. Like again, as soon as everything for us, as a small startup, we think we have a compelling vision to kind of take what's maybe seen as commodities and make them smart, high value products through embedded and integrated electronics. We believe we have a novel technology, proprietary manufacturing system to do that. And those are some advantages, but we're still fighting against big giants in these industries. And really our main advantage above it all is the speed at which we can act. So things change a lot. We have needs come up and needs go away, but when they do, we want to act on them instantly. We don't want to say, okay, we have something, a skill set that we need, and we have to wait a month to go find a person, or even a couple weeks. We want it within a couple of days, if possible, and get someone available, get them caught up to speed and working and being productive. And so having these resources are available where we can find remote work, or find other any type of work at a very fast pace is such a huge value for startups in our position.
Yeah, great. Well, I tell you, this is really fascinating. This has been great. So thank you very much for your time today. And hopefully we can do some collaboration in the future.
No, I appreciate it. You guys are doing great work, definitely helping startups like ourselves, and appreciate the opportunity to speak.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.